This week gave me some good hope that the big two ain't quite done yet. Howdy, American Texan here, and I love comic books, talking about the stories and the art inside. Other channels will talk about the gossip and the drama. We're going to focus on the stories and the things that we love happening inside the book. And if you want to nerd out about comics, the comics you're reading, the things that others are reading, and see what's out there right now from Marvel and DC, the channel is for you. So go ahead and subscribe, and so you don't miss any updates. We're talking big two this week, and I've got 5 on my pull list that I got. Number one from Marvel, a little bit of a tie-in from One World Under Doom. However, if you did not read One World Under Doom, you can still read this and I think enjoy it, and we'll go over to the table and take a look at it. From DC, I got 2 DCKO tie-ins, including, of course, DCKO number 3 and the Aquaman tie-in, and then 2 ongoings that I highly recommend. So let's go over to the table and talk about the books that I read this week from Marvel and DC. All right, so here are the big 2 books that I read. Let's take a look at Marvel Dungeons of Doom. And let me tell you what, this one actually surprised me. I enjoyed this much more than I thought I would. I was a little let down with The Will of Doom, so I was kind of expecting more of the same, but Dungeons of Doom had a really interesting premise, and a lot of folks I've heard say, we didn't need this, who asked for this? Look, I totally get it, but if there's an interesting story out there that's not on my radar, I will check it out, and that is what this story is. So this is from Benjamin Percy and Philip Kennedy Johnson. Philip Kennedy Johnson does not miss with me. Benjamin Percy, I used to say he's about 50-50 with me, but lately he's been batting a little bit better than that. But look at this really cool spread. We've got this invasion on Castle Doom with the Latverians trying to protect the castle and others trying to come in to try to take the riches. And you've got an invasion or something by a few different factions. You've got, I think it's a special ops from the U.S. I'm not sure. Red Hulk is in there. Then you've got Hydra. And then you've got one more. Oh, yeah, it was the Latverian troops. During the siege on Castle Doom, there was a fallout or some kind of disruption. The ground floor caved in, and they're all basically under the castle trying to figure out how to get to the deepest parts of the castle where the best treasures are. And just this art ended up being really good. I'm really intrigued by the different factions that are trying to get to where they're going and the reasons they're trying to get to Doom's treasures. It's not just greed, and I really enjoyed this one. If you are interested, if you have an easy curiosity to pique like mine, then you will probably like this one. If you are not interested, then maybe wait for the trade if you think you might like it. But I will say this, there is a lot of Philip Kennedy Johnson in this. If you like Infernal Hulk, there is some of that eldritch horror aspects to it. You can see some of that right there. There's a monster that's awakened. It's gross, but it's also extremely entertaining. So if you like Infernal Hulk, you might like this one. It doesn't really do too much of what was going on with One World Under Doom. It's a good story, but if you didn't read One World Under Doom, you might still enjoy it. So I actually do recommend it. I think that was a great book. On to DC, we've got the big DCKO number 3. And first of all, I read this in my car, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I was a little cooled off because All Fight Month was a big letdown for me. But as soon as I got this, take a look at this. The cover it's not die cast, I don't know what you call it, but it's that see-through window pane, and it actually opens up to the full battle spread here. I thought that was really cool. That was a really nice surprise. I don't think it was that way on the 1s and 2s, so I really enjoyed that one. I don't think I got a special cover on this. Yeah, 00311. Yep, first print. One. So this is a little something that my comic shop taught me. If you look on the back at the code here, 003, that's the comic book number. Let me get in front of my camera here. 003 is the comic book number. 1 is the print run, and then 1 is the cover. So this is cover A essentially. So it's issue 3, first print, first cover. So cover A. So if you ever have any questions on which cover you have, you can quickly look at that. I think I got that right. So then we get into the fight and we get some team ups. So essentially the final 8 get to pick a tag team partner, so to speak. And it can be anyone living or dead, past or present, just as long as they're not in the competition, right? So everyone picks their tag team competition. And we got Guy Gardner and Hal Jordan. I thought that was awesome. 2 soldier brothers, battle buddies, I guess, versus Superman and Shazam. Interesting choice that Superman didn't pick Batman, but we find out why, and it does make sense. Then we get Lex Luthor and Supergirl. That's a very interesting choice. Versus Aquaman and Hawkman. I thought that was good after reading issue 2 and Aquaman having, not issue 2. It was the Aquaman tie-in or Aquaman versus Hawkman battle issue. And, that was nice that they get to team up together and take on Lex. Why did Lex pick Supergirl? Well, we do find out a little bit about that. Then you get Wonder Woman, Big Barda, and Cyborg and Connor Hawk. Cyborg and Connor Hawk are an interesting choice. Wonder Woman and Big Barda is an interesting choice. This one is probably the battle I enjoyed the least, but it was still interesting. And then you get Zatanna and Constantine versus Joker and a mysterious pick. This one is like mystery box for mystery box sake, but they do answer it. It was interesting. A lot of folks did not care for this one for some reason. I thought it was great battles, very crazy drama, lots of chaos, especially with the Joker and what he was doing, and Lex Luthor choosing Supergirl to be his battle buddy. And the reasons he chose her. Joker chooses what we think is the Batman who laughs, but without spoiling it, I'll tell you, it's not the Batman who laughs. It is a little bit of a bait and switch there. So we'll go past that. The Lanterns versus the Supes was a great battle. Get a little bit of an interlude here with Superman. It seems like he's having to reach back to his memories to kind of think about this as a game. This is life and death, but he needs to treat it like a game and fight like Darkseid would as a game. So I thought that was interesting. But overall, DCKO number 3, I really enjoyed. I think it's a great read. And if you cooled off like I did from All Fight Month, this one gets you right back into it. So DCKO 3 was fantastic. All right, and then going on to Aquaman 13, this one, I was honestly disappointed. I was super hyped because Jeremy Adams does great tie-ins, but this one is barely a tie-in. Essentially, they answer a little bit about what Aquaman's doing for a few pages, and then it's a story about Mira and Adrena, Aquaman's daughter. So that's pretty much it. This is all you get. This is the only Fight Month tie-in that you get. It's a little bit of a different camera angle of the battle that's going on in DCKO 3, and then we go right into Mira and Adrena. And so this is another one of those marketing mess-ups where they pitched it as a tie-in, but if you got this, you really get more of the side story. And even me being subscribed to the Aquaman on my pull list, I was expecting more DCKO and not this. So I was a little bit let down. You do get this on the cover. I guess I should have paid more attention of it. The blood feud here and Mira and Adrena. So overall, the art was great. But just again, with this DCKO tie-in, I was expecting more from that, and I just didn't get it. But overall, it was still a good read. But if you're just reading DCKO and not Aquaman, you can skip it. There's not much there for you. Last 2 books, these are ongoings. Action Comics 1094. I really enjoyed this one. I was scared where it was going to go, but Mark Waid did a fantastic job of keeping it a very simple, some might say very safe Superboy story, but I still really enjoyed it. The art is very unique in this one, unlike the rest of the run, but we get Superboy getting recruited into battle, and he goes into battle, but his powers are restricted. They are not nullified, but he's in pain. Basically, he's trying to rescue some Spec Ops team behind enemy lines, and the enemy lines, the foreign country, has some kind of ultrasonic weapon that is dampering and harming Superman. So he's got to get creative, and he's still young, so he's figuring out his powers and all this works, and he sees death for the first time, a fresh human corpse, and I just thought it was a great story, a great read. It could have derailed in a lot of places. A lot of writers would have taken it in another place that didn't make much sense, but Waid keeps the story contained, keeps Superboy the center of it, and doesn't go on any rants or side whatevers like Dan Slott might. And overall, it is a great Superboy story, and it ends with a very interesting couple of panels on his identity and how he has to deal with it on his own. And he has Ma and Pa, but no one really his age that he can get support. He has no, what does he call it, support network for his superheroism. So he's dealing with that alone. And I think that was a really great story, a great coming of age here in this Action Comics Superboy arc. So I'm super enjoying that one, and still very much looking forward to the next one. And then we get the penultimate issue of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Batman and Robin run. This is Batman and Robin number 29, the return of Scarface. We finally know what's going on. We get some answers. This one is like Batman noir to its finest. Wesker has gone off the deep end again. Scarface is back, and the Quiet Man is being contained. He is in jail. Penguin's men, I think, are about to whack him, but Batman gets some answers. There's some very interesting dialogue here about, Batman and the Quiet Man having kind of the same starting moment of their crime fighting careers. And, Batman obviously went one way because he was the orphan of rich kids, and the Quiet Man went another way because he was he now was not an orphan. I don't know what you call that, but his only son was killed, and so he went a different way. The art in this continues to be amazing. Scarface is actually kind of like threatening and terrorizing and just scary a little bit, and the way that they illustrated Wesker here, like he's scared for his life, but Scarface, the mental breakdown that's happening there, I really like that. And you even got Scarface kind of arguing with Wesker here. Just kind of really shows like if you were in a room with someone like this, it actually would be terrifying. And this panel here, panel of the week right here, he's, hey, you're staying loyal and I respect that. And then you get the like just horrifying, right? But really entertaining. And we get the setup basically into the final battle with the Quiet Man and Batman figuring out what the moves are next. We get a lot of explanation, I would almost say too much explanation about what's going on, why the Quiet Man is here, and a little bit of the history of what's happening. But overall, some very thought-provoking things without being preachy, so to speak. So I really enjoyed this one. I will miss this again. This run has been fantastic. This one really got me into Batman and Robin, and really enjoyed this one. So I started reading when Philip Kennedy Johnson got on the book, and I do not regret it at all. Between all of the books that I read this week, man, Batman and Robin are definitely in the top. And, you know, DCKO. I think Dungeons of Doom was good, but I think these are my top 3 of the week. If you had to make me pick my favorite, I think my favorite would actually be Action Comics 1094. So there you have it, the top 3 books that I read this week. Did you read anything this week that I maybe should keep an eye on? Let me know. I'm not a huge X-Men guy, not really enjoying the Avengers run right now, so there's just not a lot of Marvel that I want to read. But DC is killing it. So actually, you know, a smaller week for me, but I think these were all great quality reads that I still really enjoyed. Even my least favorite, Aquaman, still a good story. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your time and attention. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe for more comic videos, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Adios.